Have you ever wanted to find your tribe? Have you ever wanted to get to the core of your own personality and explore self-awareness? Well, here's your chance. After I go through the ins and outs of how personality test works, you can go to the page 16personalities.com and test yourself. The Meyers Briggs Type Indicator is a self-report questionnaire indicating differing psychological preferences on how people perceive the world and how they make decisions. It was created by Catherine Briggs and her daughter Isabel Myers. This typology is based on Carl Jung's four dichotomies of sensation, intuition, feeling, thinking, and that one of these four functions is dominant for a person most of the time. The four categories are introversion or extroversion. I'll go into that more later. Sensing or intuition, thinking or feeling, judging versus perception. These tests are now used around the world. Large companies use them to try to figure out whether you're a good fit for their company. Schools use them to try to figure out whether the job that you have or want to go into is best for your personality type. They're also used so that people can explore their own self-awareness and get along with people a little bit better and understand and know, from another perspective, it helps bridge that gap between certain really strong personality types. If you're finding yourself, in an office and you're bumping heads, sometimes it really helps to just kind of figure out that person and how they tick. I know that it was very helpful in my own divorce. It allowed me to reflect on trying to find balance and happiness in myself and who I am, but also to kind of reflect on my shortcomings and improve my relationships with others so I can connect better with people. Myers-Briggs feels that we have a preferred way of thinking and behaving that can be divided into four groups. So I'm going to get more into that. But my tests always indicate for me that I'm an INFJ, which means introverted, intuitive, feeling, and judging. This will make a lot more sense after I get into the different types and we define the types based on typology. Extrovert or introvert are two traits that describe where you focus your attention. Is your attention focused really outward on other people, or do you kind of take a lot of stuff inside yourself? A lot of people that are introverted just kind of push it down, but we learn not to do that all the time and try to find balance, and that's what this is about. Extroverts are more outgoing. They tend to talk with hand gestures. They like to work a room when in a social setting. Extroverts, this is a big thing. They gain energy from a large group, so they'll go out and they'll feel charged when they get home, whereas an introvert, after they've been out with people, even though they've loved them and they adore them and they've had a good time, they need to recharge. So they kind of have to be quiet and go off to themselves for a little while. Sensors and intuitives are our next category. It reflects on how you see the world around you. Do you look at the big picture or the details? Do you prefer clear instructions? If you look at the details, then you're probably a sensor. Sensors focus on the details. They can uncover minor flaws on a project or idea and prefer details and clear instructions for completing a task, whereas an intuitive may look at connections and concepts rather than dwelling on flaws and following the rules. The intuitive will come up with some of the big ideas. They're good at that because they spend a lot of time in their own head. So they come up with really great ideas, which is true of me usually when I'm in a group setting. Intuitives are often bored with details. Sensors like planning and facts and following the rules, where intuitives are the outliers that want to break rules and skipping details to get to the real meat of the idea or problem. Both are heavily needed in the work environment in a good balance, and both are capable of great things. Thinkers versus feelers is the next category. This can explain how some types make decisions, whether based on feelings or logical data. Thinkers are task-oriented and want to get the job done, regardless of others' feelings sometimes. Whereas feelers are more tuned in with people and their emotions and how they feel. They spend a lot of time trying to get everybody to get along. So when you're in a group setting, the feelers are the ones that are like, how does everybody feel about that? How are you feeling about that today? And they're more, they're good with people. Thinkers are more analytical, and they take more like the science jobs. Judging or perceiving is my next one. Which one are you? If you approach projects in a structured, organized way, you're probably a judger. Judges are highly organized and don't like time wasters. They prefer structure. Perceivers are more open and have an open mind, and they prefer flexibility. And they're the risk takers who are adaptable and often wait sometimes to the last minute to finish a project and can end up in a hurry to complete it. These two types have a hard time seeing eye to eye because to a perceiver, the judger seems rigid and controlling, whereas the judger feels the perceiver is flighty and unpredictable. Judgers often complete assignments way in advance, but perceivers will pull one-nighters to get the job done. Both get the job done, it's just done differently. I want to go into some of the specific types and traits. I'm going to start with my favorite, which is the INTJ, or the architect. These are the imaginative and strategic thinkers. They have a plan for everything. This type is rare, only making up about 2% of the population. They like to question, review roles, and try to streamline any project or task. Friedrich Nietzsche is an example of an INTJ. C.S. Lewis, Jane Austen, Susan B. Anthony, Thomas Jefferson. They're innovators and strategic in nature. The INTJ life is like a chessboard. They're always looking for the best tactics and strategies. They always have a contingency plan in place to fall back on. You want an INTJ on your side if you're planning something tactical. Next is the INTP. This is my son's. I love this type. They're the logicians and the inventors. They have an absolutely unquenchable thirst for more knowledge. Like Albert Einstein was an INTP. These types are fairly rare, making up only 3% of the population. For them, the worst insult is to be called common. They want to be different. For them, they strive to be different from the rest. These types are philosophers or dreamy professors. The INTPs are responsible for many scientific discoveries throughout history. My father's an INTP as well as, but he's a biochemist that works for the biotech industry and he works on cancer research. So this fits him really well. My son is a philosopher who dreams to be a lawyer. Some fun examples of the INTP are Bill Gates, Isaac Newton, Socrates, Abraham Lincoln. They're one of the most logically precise of all the personality types. Don't ever lie to an INTP, they'll know immediately. ENTJ is the commander type, bold and a strong leader. Steve Jobs is a perfect example of an ENTJ. Franklin D. Roosevelt, Malcolm X, Margaret Thatcher, Napoleon Bonaparte. You can kind of see where I'm going with these. These are all commanding people. They're natural born leaders. They have charisma and they draw crowds. They love a good challenge. They believe they can achieve any goal. They respect anyone who can stand up to them intellectually and act with precision and quality equal to their own. They can be ruthless in their rationality, using drive and determination to achieve their goals. It's probably best they only take up 3% of the population, lest they overthrow us all. ENTP is our debater. Have you ever had someone just start debating with you for the sake of the intellectual stimulation? Well, you're probably dealing with this type. Mental sparring is what the ENTP lives for. They have an effortless quick wit, a database of information they've accumulated just for this intellectual game of who can connect the dots quicker, come out on top, shredding your argument to pieces while you try to collect your second response. They've already exposed all your weaknesses and flaws of your initial statement. But they choose a side to debate they might not even agree with. They become the ultimate devil's advocate. Find all the cracks in your hull, which can be helpful in the long term. Even during this debate, you may feel exposed, but they may have saved you some possible issues in the future. This can be an issue if used incorrectly or at bad times. Some of the famous ENTPs are Mark Twain, Thomas Edison, Leo da Vinci, Theodore Roosevelt, and Catherine the Great. Again, this is the rare personality type. They make up about 3% of the population. Moving on to my own personality type. I am in the advocate area, or the INFJ. We are thought to be quiet and mystical and idealists. This type is less than 1% of the population, yet you'll see many of the INFJ groups trying to find more understanding and connection, so we will get in a lot of groups online because we're trying to find other INFJs and they're hard to find in real life. We often feel misunderstood by other types. The INFJ has inborn sense of morality and loyalty. We're not idle dreamers. We tend to take concrete steps to achieve whatever we're trying to achieve, and we take them very seriously. All the INFJs in my life are counselors, nurses, or social services, or healthcare. We want to change people's life. Nothing is more fulfilling. We're the ones who love the idea of karma and that nothing would help the world more than love and compassion and to soften the hearts of tyrants. We are often mistaken for extroverts, but we must have time alone to recharge. We sometimes have to force ourselves to take care of ourselves, our own needs. It can become unhealthy if we're not practicing self-care. INFJ examples are some of my favorite people. Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, Mother Teresa, Carl Jung, and to me, the one who epitomizes the INFJ character in a book, but he's perfect, is Atticus Finch in To Kill a Mockingbird. Next is another favorite of mine, the mediator, or the INFP, who's poetic, kind, altruistic, and eager to help others too. These are the true idealists. They look for a hint of good in even the worst people, searching for ways to make it better. They're perceived as calm. They have a creative flame and passion for things the passion's tangible. You'll be around them and you can feel it. They're very passionate. They make up about 4% of the population, and like the INFJ, they feel misunderstood sometimes. But when they find their twin flame or people that they understand and understand them, they feel a joy that's unlike any others. They express themselves often through art and poetry and writing and other creative mediums. Example of the famous INFPs are J.R.R. Tolkien, William Shakespeare, William Wordsworth, George Orwell, and Isabel Briggs Myers herself. The next type is the ENFJ, or our protagonist. They're a very charismatic leader. They're often our politicians, teachers, coaches, reaching out to inspire others to achieve good in the world. ENFJs are unafraid to stand up to say something when something needs to be done or said. They want to infect others with their enthusiasm. ENFJs are another true altruists, sometimes to a fault because they're willing to sacrifice their own self to protect the people around them. They'll stand up for people and ideas to where, they might be in danger. Examples of ENFJs are Barack Obama, Oprah Winfrey, and Maya Angelou. My next is a campaigner, or ENFP, another favorite of mine. They're enthusiastic, creative, sociable, and spread joy in their wake. Even if it's through creativity or art, just starting something fun and creative for everyone and to spread love. These are the true, they're just spirits of joy. They're just some of the most fun people I've ever been around. They're the life of the party. They revel in joy and the joy of the moment. They're those people that take the moment and they enjoy it, where the rest of us are thinking, what's next? What's next? These are the people that are like, this is it. This is my moment. All the time. It's great. I love being around them. They make about 7% of the population. Some examples of ENFPs are Dr. Seuss, Robin Williams, Walt Disney, Oscar Wilde, Charles Dickens, and Anne Frank. Next, we'll have the ISTJ, or the logistician. These are the practical, fact-minded who are very reliable. They have integrity and practical logic. They prefer rules and standards like a law office and military. Famous ISTJs are George Washington, Condoleezza Rice, and George H.W. Bush. Next, we have the defender, or the ISFJ. These are warm protector types who are ready to defend their loved ones. The ISFJ are often found in medicine, academics, social work. Aretha Franklin and Queen Elizabeth, and the second are examples of ISFJs. The ESTJ is the executive and the great administrators, great at managing people. They thrive on order. They're usually going to be your boss. These are the ones you run into in the office. They thrive on order and what's acceptable behavior in their own environment. They give clear advice and guidance. So they are valued for this. They're the classic image of your model citizen. Examples are John D. Rockefeller, Judge Judy, Frank Sinatra, and Lyndon B. Johnson. We also have the council, or ESFJ, who are caring, social, popular people. This is the guy in the class that's the popular guy. You ran into him in high school. They're bold, practical, hands-on people. Then we have the adventurer, the ISFP, who's flexible and they're charming. They're artists who want to explore something new. We also have the ESTP, who are smart, energetic, and like risk, and the entertainer or the ESFP, who are always fun and spontaneous and energetic, and life is never boring around an ESFP. I keep looking for mine. Anyways, that pretty much concludes what I have to say on the Meyers Briggs. The best thing to do is to go to this website and take the test that they have. My references are here. And that will conclude my speech.